tell you about a place in Caribbean. Clear blue water, sand soft between your toes, and hot sun. And a people, my people, and sometimes not my people, Antigua.
I am a claim, stretching forth her hands across continental coastlines. Like a crimson tide, I ride up and over the 49th parallel. I ride the rails like George, from the Maritimes of Da Costa to the blues of Terminal City, dreaming of a land promised to be my own after overseeing fields of tobacco, cotton, indigo on this native land, kept and broken, written and spoken, drummed and danced.
So, on to the Great Black North. I was doing some research, and a friend of mine said to me, hey, you'll really find this book interesting. It's a book by Constance Barnes called Carnal Crimes. And in that book, she documents crimes which were done in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. And there's one particular crime in there. It's about a black woman called Willamine Moore. And this black woman was the first woman to be charged in a Canadian court for gross indecency. Boy, this is a great day. Push back my Parker hood. This was nothing. I was used to New York winters. Beatrice was a professional woman of good standing, vice principal. I was contented with my comfortable life. A kiss would have been considered trifling, nothing to write home about, but yet headlines read, first same-sex lesbian case. The public needed to be protected. Branded a freak of nature. Gross indecency. Nobody asked me any questions. Guilty on a white woman's evidence alone. I have looked at her. I was supposed to give her a rather strange look. Well, of course I looked at her. Even undressed her with my eyes locked. Stop! I was the first woman charged and tried in a Canadian court for gross indecency.
How do we learn to hear what we're reading? Because most of the time it's a visual exercise, right? And as you can see, some poets can actually have something like on the print and you can hear it at the same time.
At night, it was television, right? That was the light that was illuminating your face. It wasn't from your eye, your smartphone. It was the original jelly or the griot around the fire.
This is called birth cry. Every mouth that opens sounds different. The music is like a wound which opens, closes, opens. Instruments loosen hold of each other, and embrace. Inseparable in onslaught. The way we inherit our parents' abilities, and mine from my mother, is to cough. Kiss me quick. These are my father's lips. With the same relish and excellent overhand hand. Thick, black lips. A sweet tip, but a bittersweet backdrop. You are all inside me like a lung, a tongue between slick teeth. Like a dusty can or a good wine, teeth are a drawbridge for words that can kill or melt. Poems like assassins, poems like ice cream, so like a good wet screaming mouth around a gun or a cone or a microphone.
Because we have George Eliot Clark who did the introduction and Karina Vernon doing the foreword, we were really careful to use language in the call for submissions that would encourage members of the diaspora to submit.
Fire. I do not need to tell you that you are enough. You already know that everything that you are is all that you need, even though the weight of this world might sometimes bring you down to your knees. You must believe the poet Rumi once said, "What do you know of your yet undisclosed beauty? One of these days you will rise from within yourself like a sun. So I offer you these words from my heart, lips and tongue. If you look around you and everything is burning, licked in flames, upreaching light like a funeral pyre, check if you are breathing. If you are, it stands to reason that perhaps you're not the kindling, you're the fire."
I think those of us who had to go through high school and read about Homer and who and all those those Greek people, and we know their stuff because they spoke them out, not necessarily because it was written. Today it's written, but it was originally spoken, right?
For me, my first exposure to poets was people that I was listening to, the rap music that I was listening to when I was in elementary school. Big Daddy Kane and listening to Boogie Down Productions and Public Enemy. Those were the first poets that resonated with me. When I read George Eliot Clark, he always reminds us about the orality of poetry, and that's something that can be found quite commonly, because Black writers honor the link between being and language, between empowerment and articulation. They cannot cease to do so. The word is out.
Some poems which are spoken word just don't work on the page. They don't get into the anthologies, but they're brilliant poems. Whereas page poems are page poems and they work on the page. A page poet will have a page poem. When they present it to an audience, they can perform it. What they perform is very different from what's actually written on the page. For me, it was very important that we included the whole Black voice. I mean, I come from a British tradition, and it was always very much that we didn't write proper poetry. Black people were protest poets. I learned poetry was in shebeens, which were like illegal clubs. And the people used to forget about MCing and all this stuff, toasting, where people would toast and speak lyrics over a record. For me, I was just so inspired by that, but that never ended up on a page. Nobody wanted to publish us. It was very important to include the variety of the Black voice.
I recently let go of having a piece of paper in front of me when I do perform, because I like paper. I give thanks to trees. But there's something to be said about taking your own work into your body and then offering it fully with your body and your voice. And that's still new for me. I quit my day job, full-time arts production, and now there's more time to actually practice pieces and to hone the craft in all its levels.
The 7 laws of spit. Spit not in the wind. Number 2, be not too proud to spit your truth out loud. Number 3, as a man thinketh, so too he spitteth. Number 4, spit not lest ye be spit upon. Number 5, the best spitter is a better listener. Number 6, action spit harder than word. And number 7, a word spat is a bond intact.